Good afternoon to all of you. We have an interesting panel discussion. I would request all those who are in the borderline to come in. Those who are outside, I can't force you, but those who are in the borderline, please come in. We will discuss three important things on your behalf. One is somebody is successful as a leader and a manager. How to be successful as an entrepreneur. Number two, we all need money. How do you get money in a company? How do you get investments? How do you get a VC to come and invest in our company? The third part, many companies fail. They start as a startup and they fail. We will find out from our esteemed panelists why organizations fail and how do we prevent the failures. I will start with you, your first question. What are those specific qualities a person should have to succeed as an entrepreneur as compared to an employee or a professional in a company? We will start with this question. I will start with the youngest member. No, I think both are here. Both are here. I think we'll start with you, Tanush.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. I think for a leader, it is very important to first differentiate between an employee and an entrepreneur. As a leader, how do you differentiate yourself? Employee also is a leader, but entrepreneur has a different leadership skills. How he differentiate in a way that how he thinks, how he believes in the idea what he is running, and how he is creating a journey towards that idea. I think that is very important. Second important aspect is how important or what kind of importance he is giving to his time. Right?
Any of you want to add, Dr. Raman?
Yeah. So, a couple of things actually, right? I think one of the things that at least I have seen whenever I have interacted with, and by the way, this is a great gathering of founders, right? So I think this is something that I will not have to kind of stress too much on that, but it's basically entrepreneurs are rebels by nature. They are always going against the tide, right? I mean, when you are working for a large corporate, then there are certain rules and processes that are already laid out. But as an entrepreneur leader, right, you have to make those rules as you go along, right? And as something that that comes with rigor, with experience, with practice, right? It is something that kind of adds on to your own skills as you take this dive into entrepreneurship.
It's a great point. Aman, you want to add anything? The qualities of a person to be a successful entrepreneur.
So the first and foremost quality is be positive. And the moment I entered this arena, I saw positivity and high level of energy amongst all the people I got introduced by GP. So the first thing which I saw in this song was a very high level of energy, very high level of positivity. Once you are in that environment, so are you surrounded by people who are a positive outlook towards life, or I call them as the priests of doomsday. People are always looking around them and fighting. It's a gloomy environment. So as a leader, as an entrepreneur, you have to exhibit and radiate positivity. And I think once you're in a network like BNI, that's probably either you are positive, that's why you joined BNI, or you got the rub of impact to a level that I don't see anybody which lacks positivity in this room. So that's why.
Thank you so much. Actually, for your information, Aman became a CEO at the age of 42-43. Tanuj became a CEO at the age of 37-38. Utkarsh became a CEO at the age of 28-29. They're all working in different companies today. They are all entrepreneurs.
Sir, one addition. After that, nobody made me CEO, so I started my own company.
Now, my second question, which is of interest to all of you, is how do you get these investors to come and invest in our companies? Utkarsh runs a company called Uno Tumbler, and for the last 8 years, he has been advising companies to reach out to the VC funds and debt investments. I think if you can give one or two tips, that will be great, because then we'll ask others. Utkarsh.
So, I think nowadays funding, raising money, investment, these are all hot topics, right? kind of talks about these at this point in time. Most important, whenever as a business you are planning to raise money, you are planning to go out, right? Most important first is to understand why you need that money, right? Very important. There are two key things for which usually VCs and investors are okay, handing over, writing your check to you. Is one, either you are looking to raise capital for something which takes a lot of time to develop, right? Something which is, let's say for example, deep tech, आप कुछ AI में कुछ बना रहे हो, या फिर you are building out something which is not readily available in the market, right? Those are the kind of things that VCs and external investors get excited about, right? The other thing is you figured most of the things out, and you're saying कि यार मेरे को ये rocket ship में fuel चाहिए, which will take me and to the moon, right? So these are two key things that usually VCs look at, right? So I think one, like I said, first thing important is to identify why you want to raise money. The second thing to identify is the people that you are reaching out to, right? Whether they are the right backers or investors for you, right? So I'll give you an example. I used to manage this fund and GP sir, and a lot of other senior guys were investors. And this was a fund which was focused on the HR ecosystem, okay? The HR tech ecosystem. And when we were raising money, when I was raising money for the fund, right? The people that I reached out to were people like GP sir. People who would understand, what is the vision that we are bringing to the table. People who will understand, that what is the change that we are trying to bring in the HR ecosystem, right? And that kind of really got us going. It was one of the secret sauces, by the way, for our success as well, because we reached out to highly relevant people. So whenever we used to reach out to them, they used to say, "Acha, theek hai, we understand this space, we understand what you're really trying to do, right? These are the value that we are kind of trying to add to the whole ecosystem and all, right?" So two things, right? And then the third thing, which is important, is in case you don't you get a rejection as an entrepreneur who's looking to raise money, don't take this hard time. On the other side of the table, also there are people who are actually running their business. So it's important for you to kind of also understand there will be a particular reason why people are kind of saying no, right? So that's the key things.
Thank you for very good tips. How to attract an investor. You want to add anything, Tanuj and Aman?
I think the most important thing is how do you sell your idea? What kind of groundwork you have done to sell that idea? And what is the value addition it is doing to the community and to the investor? That's a very good thing.
So in my personal capacity, I have been an investor in the startup ecosystem. The first thing I looked at, as he said, is the idea. The second is equally important, probably more important, is people invest in entrepreneurs, they don't necessarily invest money in the idea. How committed you are to that. Third thing, a single person run startup will never be able to attract investment from a VC fund. Simple reason is, if this guy, sorry for saying this strong word, drops dead, loses his energy midway, do I have somebody else also to write down? So if you want to raise capital ever in your business, ensure that you are equally committed and passionate partner, at least one. You will see any company which has attracted investments from the VC funds. At least two typically key founding partners are there in the fund.
Thank you. It's very lucky to see an investor sitting here, an investment consultant sitting there, a strategy consultant is center. Money is available. Where to put money, the advice is available. How to use that money is available in one panel. My last question on your behalf is, many companies start up, take funding, make efforts, but somewhere they fail. And India holds a record of maximum number of failures in the startups. So how to prevent those failures? That's my question. We'll start with Aman and then we'll add up from the others. Aman.
So in my view, a failed entrepreneur is an asset. Because if you fail once, the chances of you succeeding next time are high. If you fail second time, the chances of you succeeding third time is certainly significantly better. But what the kind of entrepreneurs I have seen failing? The first category, Superman or woman. all those people who are supermen, they fail. Why? Because they don't seek support. The moment you think that you know it all, that's the second short reason of failure. And typically we have seen people pitching that we have a solution and I know everything about the solution. That means you stop innovating, you stop learning. The third thing which you have seen is early success is a short for failure. Because I believe nothing fails like success. All of us grew up with the idea nothing succeeds like success. I believe nothing fails like success. Because the moment you have early success, you tend to believe that you know it all. Alright? So supermen fail, people who know it all fail, and the third thing which people fail is those who have plan B. Those people fail who have plan B. Those who don't have a plan B, that's the only plan. And then they burn the bridges. That's the only plan.
It's a very interesting thing. If you have a plan B, you are likely to fail in plan A. Wonderful.
So just to add on to that, right? As they say, ideas are time a dozen, right? It is the execution which wins the day for you. Okay. And I think taking up a point which Aman sir just had mentioned a few moments back, it's about the team. As a founder, as a promoter, right? If you are unable to attract the right kind of team, and it's not only about attracting the right kind of team, it's about getting the best out of them as well. It is about retaining them as well, right? And it is about giving them those opportunities to say, "हाँ यार, हमारे साथ जुड़े रहे हैं, we continue to grow on." So without a team, right, this journey is very difficult, right? So I think one of the key reasons why a lot of startups shut down is because they don't hire the right kind of people in the beginning as well, right? Some people work with other people and say कि यार हम लोग ऑफिस में एक साथ सही काम करते थे, ये स्टार्टअप में आएगा तो यहाँ पे भी सही काम करेंगे. Rarely happens, right? That drive of a startup environment, that drive of kind of working in a zone where you are actually making up the rules as you go along, right, is very different.
Before I go to the audience for any question, I will take one more tip from Aman. One more.
Yeah. So, one or two points towards you. One is that if everyone around you is telling that you're doing a great job, get out of that group. That means you've outgrown that group. You're doing a great job, there's no critic around you, you're saying, Mr. So and so, you are so good, you are doing so well. That means either people are feeding into your ego. Typically, I have seen this one, the entrepreneurs in the beginning of their career, they have one or two people who have grown up with them. They keep telling the boss, you are great. Thus, get out of that group of people, everybody around you telling you are great. There's nobody to challenge you. Another thing is, some people stop just one step short of success. You give up when the success is around the corner. Right? And obviously people are equally important to say, pull the plug. Don't stay invested too long in an idea. What I have seen in a couple of places, success was just around the corner, the entrepreneur just couldn't sustain it beyond that. So that means the ecosystem around the person wasn't strong enough to hold on to it. So these are the
Thank you. Any question from the audience before we conclude? Anybody from the audience has any question? Yes, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Ashwini Devan, cost management accountant by profession and research. I'm Ashwini Devan, cost management accountant as such, and I will try to do something for the startup. My basic query is how a startup relates to the networking things. Because earlier the first thing which happens is the idea, and the second or third thing becomes the investors. Now many times it happens that the investor is such a person who is very dominating kind of person because of the brand value or because of the amount he is investing in the company. So what are the things he should see before getting into that frame where he gets exploited as such and doesn't sell out himself the ideas? And second thing is the networking, how it helps for a, because while going through the journey,
So I answered the first question first around investors being dominating and all, right? I think just to answer that question, first of all, investors, we perceive, entrepreneurs perceive investors as dominating because they are coming from a position of strength. You are going to them and asking them, "Yeah, हमको पैसे दे दो," right? And they are saying like, "I have this power to kind of say no." So I think it's a perception. That's number one. Second, investor community, right? And people who belong to the investor community will definitely identify with this. Huge FOMO, fear of missing out. Huge. They just don't show it, right? But if an idea is good, right? If there is an opportunity for them to kind of get on to a rocket ship and the early stages, right? And if they miss out, if you go to a lot of these large funds, actually, right? I don't remember which ones now have it. They actually have an anti-portfolio list on their website. Just check it out. So an anti-portfolio list is actually a list of startups that reached out to them, but they did not invest in them. And great big examples, huh? Big companies, big tech companies and all. I'm providing the name of the companies and all, right? So I think investors, like I said, earlier as well, I think it's important to understand the nature of the beast, so to speak, right? And the second question that you had around networking, right? I think nowadays, because of social media, because of LinkedIn, because of a lot of these investors and the analysts and all, freely available on Twitter and LinkedIn, right? It has become a lot easier to actually reach out to investors at this point in time, right? I know going through that route of putting your pitch deck on their website and you don't get an answer for them and all. But the reason for that is very simple, because these are small teams typically, right? So a company, a fund which is like doing around say 300 and 350 crore fund, right? They will have a team of 6 to 7 people, and they will get around 1,000 ideas, in 2 months time, 3 months time, right? So it takes time for them to sift through. So the best way to actually reach out to anybody in the investment community is via reference, right? So suppose you know me, right? You reach out to me, and I'm not saying take my services or anything, but I'm saying let's say GP sir, right? So GP sir, and you ask him saying, "Sir, मेरा एक idea है, do you know the right kind of people?" And he puts you in touch with someone who, for example, is a potential investor. He will be more, likely to respond to your pitch rather than doing a cold call.
You are saying referral is the route.
Referral
And PNL believes in that.
Yes. So I think that is very important. It's important to break the clutter, because right now I think we're in a good situation where tons of entrepreneurs, tons of ideas, right? But again, tons of ideas.
We'll take one last question. Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm CPCT. So I'm a logistician for like 15 years, and now recently I have started my own startup called Blue Wheels. We are into EV as a fleet service. So we've raised our first round, and the other day my question relates to the investor community. So I was sitting with Ishpreet from Stripe, and so we were just discussing about one other venture we just got busted or whatever. So I come from a conventional background where profitability is obviously a must for us, right? But then when I got my co-founders who were always been startup founders and we let it go to India. So there's always a fight between our teams, that being a CEO are always on the lookout of having operational efficiencies and good profitabilities and unit economics to be worked out. But then there is always pressure from the investor community to scale, very fast, just you go up. So we're just planning to open up 15 cities, but I was wanting that let's complete Delhi NCR first, put some. So we have about 500 vehicles, we wanted to go 2,000, 3,000 first in Delhi NCR, and that's, but I don't know how the investor community works in it, and why the scale is so much important. Seeing all these startups not carrying forward that momentum.
What the question is, now the investor is ready, consultant is ready. Last investor.
So I think first I'll quickly just say, बहुत अच्छा है अगर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो रहा है, तो अगर सारे के सारे स्केल में होते तो अपना कंपनी बंद हो जाती. It's very good that the conflict is happening, number one. Second thing that I'd like to kind of say is, see, at the end of the day, if you're the CEO, you're the captain of the ship. Okay? You have to drive the business the way that you and your team feel comfortable, right? Once the investor puts in the money, honestly, right, and I'm being very candid here, right? they are at your mercy. Right? Yes, they will give you the fuel, you will need to leverage them, you need to figure out where to go there and कैसे you will use to all that. But at the end of the day, it is going to be your call. And if you put your foot down and say, "Hey, boss, this is the way that I and my group and my team feels, that's the way to go," I'm 100% sure they will back off. Right? 100%.
Want to add?
Yeah. So, Mr. Sethi, first of all, you are a rare breed of startups who wants to stay profitable. Don't leave that breed. Investors will love you. The second aspect is there will always be a conflict between growth and profitability. My recommendation, I have seen successful businesses who say, grow profitably. It may be a little longer route. So if you are in the race to create a unicorn in the next 3 years, it's a different problem. If you want to create a unicorn which sustains and remains a unicorn or a decacorn, it's a route of profitability. That's what conventional wisdom says. Front wisdom of your mouth.
So creating value versus creating valuation. They are two very different things.
Creating value
Versus creating valuation.
That is what I had last.
You are the entrepreneur, you have given words to that idea. So you have to try. The way you want to do it. Simple.
So one more answer to common you say that the investors are getting your next. I think one thing which as an entrepreneur we miss is raising capital. Because we are so starved of capital, we don't do a value match. Like in an alliance, in a matrimonial alliance, you look at the beauty of the partner rather than the value match. And that's where the problem is. Don't look at the size of check the person is like. Go behind the curtain and ensure that there is a value match. What you want to achieve, the person has the same belief, the same view.
Okay. I have seen that lunch is being laid there, so I will want to close it a little earlier than scheduled. One parting tip from each one of them. How do entrepreneurs excel? One tip from each one of you. How can an entrepreneur excel? Like in Dwarka's language, faster and farther.
Well, just one tip, right? I mean, it's a lonely journey, it's a difficult journey, right? And I'm sure many of you are on that journey, right? But I think the most important thing that I have seen in successful entrepreneurs is they are very resilient, right? They're almost like kids. They fall up, they get down, they get hurt.
Resilience is the key.
Okay, get hurt, they get down.
I'll take this one, resilience.
I think the best thing could be seek help and ask for a mentor or a coach for the help.
Seeking help, take a mentor and a coach. First one is resilience. Aman.
The most expensive commodity which you have is your time. Maximize the value of your time. Right? That means you will do only those things which nobody else in your ecosystem can do. We normally delegate those things which we can't do. I believe in delegating everything which somebody else in the ecosystem can do, will do only those things which I can do. Because my time is the most precious. Money is secondary.
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the panel discussion today. Thank you very much, Anandi, Tanuja, Utkarsh. Thank you so much all to the organizers.
Thank you, sir. May I please request you all to stay with us for like a couple of minutes and to felicitate all our panelists and all, and of course our moderator. I would like to request Ms. Shri Sukhi to join us. Mrs. Sunil King and we also request Ms. Shri to step forward. Can we all please put our hands together to thank each one of them? and I always say that our net worth is our network.